Hello, friends. Welcome back to Story Time. Today, the story is about Calvin Coconut by Graham Salisbury. Calvin Coconut, Hero of Hawaii, Chapter 10 Bug Explosion. When Stella, Mom, and Darcy got home from the store, I said, Clarence went to check on his mom and sister. Mom plopped a droopy wet grocery bag on the counter. Shopping in a storm is no fun. He said to say bye, I added. Mom started taking things out of the bag. What's Clarence's family like, Stella? They obviously raised him well. Nice. They live in a little house on the other side of the river. His dad and uncle lived there too. What? I said. He said he didn't have a dad. Well, actually, the dad is Lois, not his. Loie? His sister P. Brain. You should know her. She goes to your school. Loie Martineau? Stella snapped her finger and pointed at me. Bingo. But Clarence's last name is not Martineau, I said. Stella gave me a sad look. Your light bulb is not very bright, is it? Stella, Mom said. Fine, she is his half-sister. Different dad. Oh, Loie Martineau was Clarence's sister? Man, was Tito going to be surprised about that? Tito met up with Clarence once and was scared of him. Tito was this sixth grader who always bothered us at school. He followed Loie Martineau around like a shadow, even though Loie wouldn't give him a crumb of her lunch plate. Tito also liked Stella, who thought he was an idiot. Mom looked at me as she put stuff away. How is everything at Julio's house? Carl? Oh, good. Do they have any leaks? Oh, no, I said, hoping that was true. I made myself busy by emptying the leak bowl and setting it back under the drip. Blink. The phone rang. Stella answered cheerfully, hoping, I guess, that it was Clarence. Hello? I started for the door before Mom could ask any more questions. Hey, Twit, Stella called. It's Willie. I took the phone. Hey, Willie. Stella and Mom left the kitchen. Can you believe this storm? Willie said. No kidding. You should see the river. It's rising. Is it going to reach your house? I sure hope not. We were quiet a second. Hey, I said. You want to sleep over tonight? Ask your mom. Yeah, great. Hang on. I held my hand over the phone. Mom, I called. Can Willie sleep over? If it's okay with its mother, it's okay with me. She answered from the living room. Willie came back. She said I could. Cool. Come now. Bring your sleeping bag. My other bunk doesn't have shades on it. Be right there. Willie lived down the street a few houses past Julio's. We hung up. A half hour later, Willie came dripping in through the garage and stuck his head into my room. You in here? What took you so long? Willie tossed his sleeping bag on the lower bunk. I had to clean my room first. Hey, Streak lay on a small rug on the polished concrete floor. She thumbed her tail. Cleaning your room sounds like bribery to me, I said, totally. It was getting darker outside. Let's go see what's for dinner. It was almost like camping out. Mom and Stella cooked up hot dogs and beans and sliced some apples. Willie and I took our plates out on the covered patio and sat watching the rain pour off the roof so hard it dug trenches in the sandy soil below. It was loud too. Willie shouted, Hot dang! Can you believe this rain? Double dang! Ho! He grinned. Back in my room, it was just as noisy. Rain was misting through my screen, but only onto the windowsill. Something else was coming into my room too. Yay! Willie yelped and scrambled up onto the top bunk. Look on your desk, it's Manly Stanley. Manly Stanley was our class pet, a centipede that I would caught in a jar and that now lived in a sandy resort on our teacher's desk at school. That's not Manly. It's his uncle Lex. Hey Lex, I said to the centipede, where you been? My desk was a counter that ran along one side of the room. Behind it was a stone wall, which was the old garage wall before someone who lived here before us made a storage room out of half the garage. There were cracks in the rock. That was how bugs of every kind got in. They come in when it rains, kind of like a bug explosion. Great, I laughed. The centipede was pretty big, about 4 inches. It would probably look like an alien from outer space through a microscope. Don't worry, the small green head ones are worse. I feel better already. Those ones you don't see until they bite. Willie looked down from the top bunk. Can't you get it out? Sure, but there would be more of them. Willie's mouth hung open. We gotta sleep with those things in here. They won't bite you. They just want to be dry, is all. Willie frowned. Fine, but I'm not sleeping on the bottom bunk. We traded berths. I handed him his sleeping bag and he tossed me my pillow and sheet. I snapped my fingers. Streak jumped upon my bed and plopped down by my feet. Say goodnight to Spidey, I said to Willie. Who's Spidey? Look in the corner above your head. Oh man, he won't bite either. Chapter 11. The Bridge. It was still raining when I woke up the next day, Sunday. My window was filled with dark grey clouds and the sound of endless rain. It was supposed to be Darcy's party day, but that would have been a disaster in this weather. I got up on my elbows. My blinking clock said it was 2:18. The power had gone out and come back on in the night. Willie, I whispered, you awake? No answer. Streak stretched and yawned, slipping by my feet. I peeked up over the top bunk. Willie was not there. I pulled on yesterday's shorts and t-shirt and Streak and I headed to the kitchen. The smell of bacon hit me like a brand new sunny day. A glass bowl of pancake batter and a carton of eggs sat ready by the stove. Willie and Daisy were sitting at the counter near the leak bowl with glasses of orange juice. Mom looked at me from the stove, a spatula in her hand. Good morning, sleepyhead. What time is it? Almost 9:30. It's still raining. I was getting worried because it had never rained so hard for so long. It's supposed to let up sometime this morning. At least that's what Ledward said. He called, still stuck. My boat! I ran to the living room to look out the window. Willie jumped off his stool and followed. Come right back, Mom said. I'm starting the pancakes and eggs. The river was as wide and high as I would ever seen it in my whole entire life. So high it made my stomach swirl. Scary. My skiff was still above it, but not for long. I hoped Ledward was right above the rain ending soon. Look at the bridge, I said. The water was nearly to the top. There was only about 6 inches left to go and boom, that bridge would be underwater. I hope the river doesn't take it out, Willie said. Probably could too. We ran back into the kitchen. While we ate the best breakfast ever, bacon, eggs, and pancakes taste so good in the middle of a storm, the rain started to let up. Finally, Mom said, Stella came into the kitchen. She looked at me and Willie. Hurry up, I need the kitchen. For what? I asked. For this, she said, holding up a fist. Stella's making cupcakes, Mom said. Special ones for Darcy. I scrunched up my face. What's special about cupcakes? Stella moved up next to me, so close I could smell her toothpaste. She put her arm around me. So Stumpy, listen. If you saw a special cupcake, would you even know it was special? I shrank away from her arm. Willie gasped. The answer is no, Stella said. So I asked myself, why are we having this conversation? Mommy pointed out the window. Look, the rain stopped. My ears swelled in the sudden silence. Now there was only the rattle of the wind slapping at the window screens. I shoved Stella away and gobbled down what was left on my plate. Let's get out of here, I said to Willie. Wait, Mom said. Where are you going? Just outside, Mom. Check stuff out. Okay, but you listen to me. Don't get close to that river. It's moving very fast. We won't. We headed for the door. Let's go check out the bridge, I said to Willie. Streak was in the garage. She hopped up when she saw us. Stay, I commanded. Got the house. I didn't want her falling off the bridge or something. Streak was getting better at staying when I said to. Willie and I blasted out into the dark grey day. The wind was not nearly as powerful as it had been the day before, but it was still strong. We ran across the street, through the jungle, and out onto the golf course on the other side. There was no way any golfers would be out on this day. Long swamp grass along the shore bent in the wind. On sunny days, we found lost golf balls in it and sold them back to golfers for a quarter. The bridge looked the same as always, but the river was very close to having it for a snack. I grabbed Willie's arm and held him back. Too spooky to go out there. Looks okay to me. He started out. I frowned. Go slow then, I said, creeping along behind him. Better not go at all. It's fine. Look, it's solid, not rocking or anything. The water raced under it, a gazillion gallons, all muddy brown and littered with the floating junk. The river moved so fast, it made the bridge hum. I could feel the vibrations in my feet and legs. We walked out to the small platform, taking careful steps, ready to run back if the bridge started to feel weird. So far, so good. We crept out onto the platform and crouched. The swirling water made me dizzy. Downriver, I could see my house with my skiff high up in the yard. Farther toward the ocean, the road bridge that crossed over into the Lanikai only had a small space under it too. But it sat higher than the one we were on, and it was way stronger. Man, look at all the junk in the water, Willie said. Branches from the mangroves that lined the river had broken off and were sailing downstream. Some got caught under the bridge. Here comes a big one, I said. It was mostly submerged, but parts of it stuck out of the water. It was heading right toward us and would go under the platform if it stayed on course. Willie crawled to the edge and looked into the water. Let's watch it go by. I got down next to him. The branch flowed under, and when it popped out on the other side, Willie reached down and grabbed it. I blinked and he was gone. The branch had pulled him off the platform into the muddy water. Willie! He looked back at me as the river swept him away. Chapter 12. Tangled Oars. Willie, I screamed again. He was still hanging onto the branch as it dragged him towards the sea. He bobbed, then underwater. I gasped. He popped back up. A huge gust of wind rattled the bridge. I jumped up and leaned into it, started running. Back to the fairway, along the swamp grass shore, into the jungle, pounding down the trail. I broke out onto the streets across from my house. The street was deserted. Nothing but the wind and empty yards. Off to my right, the river sailed on, and I could see Willie, still clinging to the branch. In a minute, he would glide past my yard. I ran down to the water line, now eating up most of our yard. Willie, he couldn't hear, too busy struggling to hang onto the branch, trying to keep his head up. Swim to shore, I shouted. Let's go and swim. Willie was new here. He didn't know about getting out of currents. I would never ever seen him swim. Did he know how? The boat. I ran to my skiff, flipped it over and dragged it toward the water. The oars fell out, twisting in their cables, flopping around behind. Glancing up at the house, I saw Darcy watching me in the big front window. Willie is in the water, I yelled. Get Mom! But Darcy couldn't hear me. She disappeared from the window. Willie was even with the yard now. There was no way he could angle into the shore before he passed. He was too far out and moving too fast. I would have to get the boat out and catch up, grab him before the current dragged him out into the ocean. A car pulled up. Clarence! He saw me untangling the oars and ran down to me, leaving his car door open. You can't go out on that water. Willie fell in the river. Where? That branch. See him. I tried to unhook the cables from the oar locks but couldn't. Why did Ledward do this? Wait, Clarence said. I go in the house. Tell them, stay here. We go together. Clarence sprinted toward the door. I got the oars untangled and tossed them into the skiff. Willie hadn't said a word since he had fallen in. No screams, no yells, just silence. Scary, scary silence. He was past the yard now, moving toward the second bridge and the ocean. No time. I shoved the skiff out and jumped in. Hey! Clarence yelled behind me. I turned to look back. Clarence held his head in his hands. Streak ran from the garage down to the water. She barked at me. Mom ran out. She shouted something, her words muffled by the wind. Streak barked and barked as the current grabbed the boat. I fumbled with the oars. Ahead, Willie still clung to the branch, moving closer to the bridge. Closer, closer. 3 feet separated the bottom of the bridge from the surface of the river. Willie was low in the water, but could make it under. But I... Thanks for watching the video. Continue the remaining chapters in my next video. Thanks again. Bye.